Welcome to West Advertising Media and Sales Consulting. My name is Larry West. I started West Advertising in 2005, and I'm headquartered in Texarkana, Texas. We're quite unique to the extent that most advertising agencies only offer advertising services. But we not only offer effective advertising services, but we also offer sales training and consulting as well. And here's why we do that. I personally feel that getting people inside your store is just the beginning. Having customers backed up to the sidewalk and no properly trained salespeople to assist them means you have wasted your advertising dollars or prospecting efforts. Here are a couple of good reasons to employ West Advertising. First of all, I invested 35 years in the retail, automobile, and motorcycle sales industry. I also invested 2 years in selling media advertising prior to starting my own advertising agency in 2005. My strong points were then and still are training salespeople to sell maximum units, yet hold desirable gross profit per unit. I also possess the ability to take your ideas, offers, and advertising budget and transform them into a productive one while relieving you from the stress of dealing with the media. And last but not least, one of my strongest points is training your F&I salespeople. Now that you know something about me, let's talk about why I'm here and what I can and am planning on doing for you. First of all, my objective is to teach you the 5 basic ingredients to a sale. Keep one thing in mind though, and that's the fact that I do not teach sales system. Your store already has a sales system, stay with theirs. I strictly teach basics. Here's a bit of pertinent information as well, and that's the fact that there's exceptions to what I teach. No one has all the answers, I don't care who they are. Time and circumstances change things. Although my experience is in auto sales, I believe my training will help you sell items such as motorcycles, furniture, appliances, and other big-ticket items. I believe in and teach that there are 5 basic ingredients to any retail sale. I've heard terms such as 10-step sales approach, 20-step sales approach, systems, and well, just all kinds of car sales systems. 30 steps to a successful sale. However, it condenses to the 5 basic ingredients of any retail sale, regardless of what you're selling. Now, here are those 5 basic ingredients. Number 1 is introduction. Number 2 is qualification. Number 3, presentation. Number 4, demonstration. And last but not least, number 5 is close. Well, since introduction is the first ingredient in the sales, let's start with it. Introduction must be the first step, and any sale, just as close, must be the last step. However, as you will see, the other 3 steps will be intermingled. The short definition of introduction means to meet and greet. However, introduction is the foundation of your sale, just as a concrete slab is the foundation of your house. And here's a bit of information. Most lost sales or low growth sales are a result of a bad or weak introduction. There's only so many ways to say good morning and welcome to ABC Motors. That makes teaching introductions, well, it sounds boring. However, a proper introduction is a lot deeper than just saying hello and welcome to. It all starts with a good attitude, and it's up to the salesperson to have a good one. The sales manager cannot give you a good attitude, and they cannot take your good attitude. That's up to you. Let me define each of the ingredients, beginning with introduction. As a reminder, introduction simply means meet and greet. If it's done correctly, then qualify will automatically happen. The second ingredient is qualification. Qualification can be defined as, well, probing or asking questions. It depends on how you look at it. If there is any one ingredient that's more important than the others, it probably would be qualification, because that's the base. That after you get your introduction made, then you've got to learn about that customer and what their needs and wants are. The third ingredient is, well, it's presentation. Presentation simply means to show the features of your benefit and explain those features. It's where value begins to happen in the customer's mind. Demonstration is number 4. Demonstration is, well, it's the proof of presentation. The 5th ingredient is close. The description of close simply means to ask for the order. There's been complete books written on the subject, not to mention hordes of sales meetings and training sessions. However, the term close merely means ask for the order. Understanding why customers act or react as they do will help you sell more cars and make better commissions. To handle today's shoppers, it helps to understand how we got to this point in our industry. A brief history of the auto industry might help you understand why customers' first response could be, "What's your best price?" or "How much can you knock off the price?" These are indicators that a customer is not really sold on anything yet, but they're also buying signs, so you have to handle them very carefully. Let's begin with the industrial age for just a moment. The industrial age is where the transformation of our industry began. Prior to the industrial age, everybody lived a very simple lifestyle. Although cars and better roads were being built, horses and buggies was still the main source of transportation. Everybody worked, their word was their bond, and there was very little bad credit. However, globally, when the industry age hit, it changed from that to a very busy, complicated lifestyle. All industry was affected by the industrial age, and especially the auto industry. Well, I'm familiar with cars, so let's talk about cars. In fact, we can begin with Henry Ford. Although Henry did not invent the first car, he may as well have, because he became the first giant in the auto industry. He built his first car in 1896, and he called it a quadricycle. According to museum records, Mr. Ford sold his first quadricycle for $200, and he became the first used car dealer because he bought it back for $65. Well, Mr. Ford realized the potential, and he began building more cars, and he sold them. In the early 1900s, he designed the Model T, and he named it the Tin Lizzie. Well, in 1908, Mr. Ford created a method of mass producing the Model Ts. The assembly line was born. And of course, so was the industrial age. Cars being mass produced changed marketing habits as well as shopping habits. Cars became more available. Well, there seemed to be a Ford dealer on every corner. And cars also became more affordable. Anyone with a respectable job could afford a new Model T. Well, the mass production of cars demanded a viable distribution method of those cars. Ford, being as innovative as he was, implemented a national distribution system. This thing is something to be envied by every manufacturer today. Over a period of years, Ford set up some 6 designated distributors for his product, for both cars and replacement parts. Ford's goal was for every town in the U.S. to have at least one Ford dealer. Each distributor was responsible for setting up and servicing their own network of dealers, and those dealers purchased cars and replacement parts from their particular distributor. Considering the fact that these distributors were responsible for setting up their own network of dealers, some distributors would set up things such as gasoline stations, buggy repair shops, and blacksmith shops as Ford dealers. However, during the mid-1930s, things began to change in the auto industry. Competition became an important factor in auto sales. Cars became more sophisticated. They now came in colors. Some had more equipment than others, and the list goes on. This created competition among dealers, distributors, and manufacturers. New and different models began to surface, not to mention new manufacturers. National highway system was improving, including hard surface highways. Well, the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941 changed everybody's lifestyle, especially changed their shopping habits. We were at war. But it took almost 3 years to get ready for the battlefront. All U.S. citizens, even housewives and mothers, learned what sacrifice was all about. There were no vagabonds or loafers in the U.S. at that time. If you were not draft eligible for the military to go fight, your obligation was to build supplies for it. By 1944, though, the war was in full swing. All raw materials were being used for war supplies. Therefore, no new cars were built during 1944 except for the military. This created a shortage of automobiles, and it also created a strong demand for used cars. Everybody was either fighting in the war, in basic training, or the people at home were manufacturing supplies and they needed transportation for work. But there was none available. As always, the shortage of anything causes the value of that commodity to increase. The war years and car prices were no different. The strong demand for used cars drove the price of used cars through the roof. As always, there's someone who can't resist taking advantage of innocent people. As a result, some greedy car dealers took advantage of needy, hard-working people, and they overcharged them for rusted-out, patched-up used cars. As always, there's someone who just can't resist taking advantage of innocent people. As a result, some greedy car dealers took advantage of needy, hard-working people and overcharged them for rusted-out, patched-up used cars. Some buyers, out of need, paid double what their car sold for brand new just to have transportation to work. Naturally, this caused buyers to become suspicious of all car dealers. As a result, a few bad car dealers gave all car dealers a bad name. Let's touch on war economics for just a moment. And I think you'll understand in a little while why people react as they do, why they're suspicious when they come in your store. But let's touch on that war economics. After the war, our soldiers returned home. They needed jobs, and there were plenty of them to be had. Everything from cars to sewing machines was being mass-produced. The housing industry was booming. Everyone was working, and everyone had money. The economy was great. As good as this sounds, though, it created an interesting turn in the world of auto sales. And here's how that went. Bear in mind that the fact that the market was flooded with inventory and that everyone had money. More simply stated, there was lots of dollars chasing lots of inventory, and that creates competition. Competition being as strong as it was, some dealers began cutting prices to sell new cars. Price cutting was born. The word of dealers cutting prices gave prospective buyers the idea to, guess what? Shop for a lower price. With the customer now shopping price, dealers began advertising by using price as an incentive to shop their store. It was a merry-go-round. This scenario created more suspicion among shoppers. At this point, everyone was on a treadmill. Dealers were advertising price and shoppers were shopping price. Some of the same type dealers that overcharged, though, for used cars during the war would now advertise prices lower than they could actually sell the car for. It's called bait and switch. When a customer would come to the door, a salesperson would try to sell them on a different car. Again, bait and switch. Customers now expected even greater discounts, though, because all these advertised prices than before. Price shopping became even worse. And something had to be done. Well, there was no way to stop this price treadmill, but there were two men from Memphis, Tennessee, Mr. Hull and Mr. Dobbs, that implemented a system that allowed dealers to successfully compete in this price shopping mayhem. This system is known today as the commit and submit method of selling cars. It's very similar to, the method real estate brokers use today. This method is operated several years under different names, but you might find some of these names to be familiar. The Hull-Dobbs system, the Foursquare system, the commit and submit method, and of course the old-fashioned if method. Because of the media and the internet, today's customers are better educated than they were in the late 1940s. However, this has not decreased the suspicion of you as a salesperson to the customer or the buyer. Let's take a look for a moment what shoppers expect from you as a salesperson. Number one, they see you as being a professional. Number two, they expect you to be a problem solver. And number three, they demand answers and they expect correct answers. Customers will test your integrity. In fact, they'll ask you questions they already know the answers to, just to see if you know your product or if you're familiar with your competition. They'll ask you questions that actually aren't even relevant to the purchase, just to see if you're honest. When they feel they can trust you, they will open up to you and they will buy from you. This is Pete and Roxy, and they're interested in a new sofa. Roxy has just changed jobs, and her new job will require her to, entertain at home. She feels that an update to her sofa would be an asset to her new position. Listen as Roxy explains her motive of buying to Pete and asks his opinion. Now, these are things that are discussed before people ever come to your store. These are things that make people react the way they react when they get there. And the only way you're going to know these is to ask questions if you're going to learn them.
Pete, you know, with this new job I got, I've been looking at our furniture and it's looking a little grungy, and I'm thinking it's pretty old. We need to get a new sofa. And I looked at the checkbook. I really think we might could afford to go ahead and get one. You know of anybody that might have one on sale?
Yeah, we're going to need a new one since you're going to be entertaining at home, so let's go see James.
All right, I think that'll be great.
Pete has a 30-minute commute to work. He listens to a local radio station and has heard a high-impact ad about certain bargains happening right now through this weekend at Terrell Brothers Furniture. Listen to Pete and Roxy's comments and concerns as they pull up to James's place.
I sure hope we find a better salesperson here than we did at the last place we shopped.
Yeah, really. I thought the last place we shopped we were never going to get anybody to wait on us.
You're right about that. I don't even think they knew we were there. Those two salespeople were just standing around talking.
Listen to Pete's comments as they're exiting the car to show the suspicion.
Hey, remember, when we get in there, tell them we're just looking.
Okay.
As you're watching this video of Pete and Roxy entering the Terrell Brothers Furniture, keep in mind the 3-minute rule. A salesperson has, 3 minutes to get to a fresh prospect. Any longer, the prospect will become negative and are subject to leave without even talking to you. Meet James. He's had a great weekend, but it's Monday afternoon and he's ready to go home. Here are a few things he is about to do wrong, and you will see they're very, very wrong. Another one's he will ignore Pete and Roxy. He keeps looking at his newspaper. He stays on the cell phone, and he has a bad attitude when he does finally greet them. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to be somewhere else. Watch this video as James' improper meet and greet.
Camping and canoeing. How about y'all coming next weekend? Love to see y'all there.
I'm not gonna be able to buy anything, but let me see what I can do.
Yeah, we'll hook up next Sunday. That sounds good, about 10 o'clock. Okay.
I even like this. I
Yeah.
thought if I could get somebody over here to help us, this might be the one we like. I sort of like
Well,
it.
I'm about ready to go.
You know, if he doesn't get up, I think I'm with you.
All right. Well, tell Annie I said hello. All right. Bye. Can I help y'all with something?
No,
If I can help y'all, I'll be glad to.
You got a card or anything?
Yeah, sure. Hold on a second. I'll get you one.
Be prepared. Think about the prospect. Keep your mind, ears, and eyes wide open. You never know where, what, or who that prospect just left. They might have been mishandled moments early. Well, similar to how James mishandled Pete and Roxy. Before heading to work, make sure your hair's combed. You look and feel fresh, and you're alert. Dress like a pro. Be mentally prepared. Look in the mirror before you leave and create a good relationship with that person looking back at you. When you notice an opportunity to sell, prepare yourself mentally. A correct mindset will come across as a positive to the customer. Before greeting a prospect, tell yourself, this is my opportunity to earn a commission. If you think successful, you will be successful. Put a big smile on your face. You're about to go on stage, and it will get you everywhere. State your name. Hello, my name is Larry West. And you get their name. And your name is? Do this while holding their hand. Write their name down. Call it as many times as you can. That's the sweetest sound in the world to someone is their name. Here is a suggestion as how to get the prospect's address and phone number. You ask them, if I were to send you a letter, where would I send it? If they state their address, then you would ask, and your phone number is? Then you would say, welcome to ABC Motors. What kind of new car can I show you today? This gives them an opportunity to let you know what they're looking for or possibly how hot of a prospect they might be. Let's watch as James does a proper job of introduction. He does know how. He's going to show us.
Hi, welcome to Carroll Brothers.
Hi.
My name is James. Your name?
Roxy.
Pete?
Pete. Glad to meet you. What brings you folks in today?
Well, I started a new job, and so
Great.
sort of looking for sofas.
Good.
Going to be doing a little entertaining in my home, and thought
Okay.
I'd get a new sofa.
Great. Well, come back this way and I'll show you a few we have.
All right.
First of all, James approached Pete and Roxy within the 3 minutes. That made them feel appreciated. He was smiling. Smiling showed them his good attitude. He offered each of them his hand. That made them feel welcome. He welcomed them to Tell Brothers. That gave them the feeling of being their friend. Here's where the qualifying process begins. In fact, it actually began with the "What can I show you today?" question. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from this video. This is the first in a series of 5 videos available.